I thought about how Satan perpetrates captivity through generations. Because you see, the amount of fallen angels that came down with him have not multiplied. It's still the same number. So he has to be very intelligent and create a system by which he can multiply darkness. And so he doesn't have to attack every generation. He just needs to program the first generation to believe. He just needs to program them to believe captivity. And so that's why you cannot talk about bloodline captivity without talking about culture. Because culture is what carries captivity through generations. And so when one generation agrees with a captivity mindset, they teach the next generation. And by the fourth generation, nobody questions it because it's culture. So I do work in many nations, and I realize that I go in and I can just tell the captivity in the atmosphere, but the people don't see it. Because what do they say? This is who we are. This is how we are. And so Satan wins the battle of capturing generations by locking it into culture. And that's why one of the first things you fight when you fight bloodlines is that you put the culture of the kingdom versus the culture of darkness and show them that, look, you're actually locked into this loop of captivity. And then when you think about bloodlines, and the Bible says the life of a thing is in the blood. And Job was saying, he says, in my mother's womb, I was fashioned in iniquity. And so you begin to realize that captivity doesn't begin from when you were born. Captivity begins from when you're being crafted. And so all of those things are passed down to you. And then when you think about bloodlines, you actually see patterns in the bloodline. So from like fatherhood patterns, what did the fathers do? And, you see motherhood patterns. What are the things the mothers struggle with? You see health patterns, you see financial patterns, you see patterns around prosperity, how they manage money. There's some families that they get rich, but everybody dies poor because at some point the wealth cycle breaks. And so when you are able to recognize that your life is a combination of the patterns that have been perpetrated by the people that have gone ahead of you and the decisions you are making by the culture they handed down to you, that's the moment your deliverance begins. And so when you pray at that point, you're not just praying for God to do something that is outside of you taking action, but you're actually praying for God to open your eyes for you to see the patterns of captivity. That's why when God was going to make the children of Israel into a nation, what he gave to them was a set of laws. And so he was basically trying to say to them, if you change your culture, you will break the captivity of Egypt over you. And so that's why he allowed them to stay for 40 years. It says to try you so that what's in your heart, what your natural inclinations will come out. And you will see that with this culture, you cannot take any land or any territory. It's not about the labor of your hands. It's about the covenants that were made, not just the covenants you have made, but the covenants that were made before you.